Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Let's unpack this right away. If you are listening to this right now, you are probably gearing up for your ethical hacking certification.
Yep, getting ready for the big exam.
Exactly. And you already know that mastering wireless vulnerabilities is just an absolute must. But today we're doing something a little different, a bit more hands-on.
Right, this is a tactical audio companion. It's specifically designed to help you study and completely master the Bluetooth hacking toolkit presentation.
Yeah. So we're taking your source material, the presentation slides, the official quiz concepts, the underlying protocols, and we are mapping them all out together.
I like to think of this deep dive as mapping out a digital heist. We're going to start with the reconnaissance phase, move into the break-in methods, and finish with the getaway.
Or in our case, the defensive countermeasures.
Exactly, the defense.
I love that framing. So here is how you should use this audio. I've got the presentation pulled up right here in front of me. I'll be guiding you through it organically, and I will let you know exactly when we are changing slides. I'll call out the slide number and the title. That way you can easily follow along visually if you have your study guide right there with you.
And we are applying a Bloom's Taxonomy challenge today.
Ooh, the challenge.
Yeah, because passive listening, it will not get you a certification. To truly master this material, you have to engage with it.
So as we transition between these concepts, we are going to throw some specific open-ended scenarios your way. Don't just let the audio roll.
Right, take a second to pause. Mentally construct a 2 or 3 sentence response. I mean, if you can explain the concept in your own words, you own it.
I am here to ask the questions, break out the analogies, and keep us moving through the guide.
And I'll be unpacking the technical architecture behind all these tools. We'll look at why certain attacks work, highlight the specific traps test makers love to use, and give you the memorization keys you need to walk into that exam room with total confidence.
Let's actually pull up the first piece of our guide. Let's kick things off. Moving to slide 1, titled The Ethical Hacker's Bluetooth Toolkit.
Setting the stage.
Right. And to set the stage, Bluetooth is everywhere. We're talking headphones, speakers, fitness trackers, the infotainment system in your car, and yes, even your refrigerator.
It's completely ubiquitous.
Yeah, and because of that, the attack surface is massive. This toolkit is about understanding those vulnerabilities. But it's interesting. We had to look at both sides of the coin to really do this job, right?
That duality is the absolute core of ethical hacking. You have to understand the reconnaissance and the offensive tools just as intimately as the defensive countermeasures.
You can't just be the shield.
No, you simply cannot secure a network if you don't fully comprehend how an attacker views it. You have to pick up the digital crowbar, feel its weight, and understand exactly how it pops a lock before you can design a better door.
Man, that brings up a great scenario to chew on before we move to the specific threats. Think about this as you study. Here's your first prompt.
Listen closely.
Evaluate the dual nature of an ethical hacker's role. Why is it critical to thoroughly master offensive penetration tools to properly implement defense-in-depth countermeasures for Bluetooth networks?
Formulate your own answer to that before moving on.
Now let's transition to slide 2, titled The Bluetooth Battlefield. We know the devices are everywhere, but the sources categorize the actual threats into 3 main buckets.
The big 3.
First, we have information leaks. This is your calendar, your address book getting pulled right over the air. Second, malware, specifically smartphone worms that exploit Bluetooth connections. And third, financial fraud.
Which is where a hijacked device is remotely forced to make expensive international phone calls.
The exam loves to test your ability to differentiate between the operational mechanics of these threats.
They really do. And here is a massive trap you need to watch out for on your quiz radar. If an exam question asks what specific threat has increased due to software that activates a Bluetooth camera or microphone, the exact answer is the creation of bugging and eavesdropping devices. You have to avoid selecting smartphone worms for that scenario.
Wait, why is that a trap, though? If malicious software is on the phone activating the mic, isn't that a worm?
Not inherently, no. A worm is defined by its primary mechanism, self-replication over a network connection. It's designed to spread.
Oh, I see.
Activating a microphone is about stealthy surveillance. It's creating a bugging device. They are functionally different goals. One is a virus trying to infect the whole neighborhood. The other is a spy planting a listening device in your living room.
That distinction makes perfect sense. So for your next mental check, here's the prompt. Based on the threats discussed, how would you contrast the operational mechanics of a self-replicating smartphone worm versus an eavesdropping attack utilizing a compromised device's microphone?
Think about the attacker's ultimate goal in each scenario.
Moving along to slide 3, titled Nuisance versus Theft. Okay, the test makers love to throw these blue terms at you. Let's untangle bluejacking and bluesmarfing.
This is a classic point of confusion.
Right, so think of bluejacking as the annoyance. It's sending unwanted data to an enabled or discoverable device. The attackers do not gain control, and they cannot steal your data. My favorite analogy here, it's like a prankster tossing a bunch of junk mail onto your front porch.
Annoying, yes. A breach of your personal files. No.
Exactly. But then we have bluesnarfing. This is the actual theft. This is someone breaking into your physical mailbox and stealing your bank statements. They pull address books, call data, text messages.
The underlying technical mechanism is what you really need to remember for the exam here. Bluesnarfing exploits a specific protocol called Object Exchange, or OBX. OBX. OBX is the keyword you absolutely must associate with bluesnarfing. It was originally designed just to make it easy to swap digital business cards or files between devices.
But wait, if OBX is just for a standard object exchange, why doesn't my phone just reject an unauthenticated request from a hacker? How are they bypassing that?
It comes down to flaws in early implementations and legacy support. Many older devices, or devices configured for maximum convenience, didn't enforce strict authentication for certain OBX push or pull requests.
They just let it happen.
Pretty much. Bluesnarfing essentially abuses that open door, asking the device for sensitive files, and the device, prioritizing convenience over security, just hands them over.
So it's a polite request that the phone shouldn't be answering.
Got it.
Take a moment to mentally map this out. Here's the prompt. Analyze the role of the Object Exchange Protocol, OBX, in a bluesnarfing attack, and explain why a bluejacking attack does not pose the same risk of data exfiltration.
Good one.
Let's turn to slide 4, titled Denial of Service and Total Control. We have another pair of attacks here, bluesmacking versus bluebugging.
More blue terms.
Let's start with bluesmacking. This is a pure denial of service attack, a DOS. It targets the L2CAP layer of the Bluetooth protocol stack by transferring an oversized packet, which crashes the layer and denies service to the user. On the flip side, we have bluebugging. This is total control. It installs a backdoor that bypasses normal authentication, letting attackers track victims, change network providers, and send texts.
Let's briefly demystify that L2CAP layer, because understanding it helps you remember bluesmacking. Think of the L2CAP layer as the traffic cop of the Bluetooth connection.
The traffic cop.
Right. It takes big chunks of data, breaks them into manageable packets, and directs them where to go. Bluesmacking throws a digital boulder at that traffic cop. It's a packet so monstrously large that it causes a buffer overflow. The cop gets crushed, traffic stops, and the device crashes.
That is a great visual, a digital sledgehammer.
It really is.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful not to mix up the outcomes on the exam. Here is your distractor alert.
Pay attention to this.
If a scenario describes a user who receives a massive bill from his provider for international phone calls he never made, that is bluebugging. It is not bluesmacking.
Because smacking just crashes it.
Exactly. A crashed phone from a bluesmack cannot make international calls. Bluebugging gives the attacker the backdoor control required to actively commit that financial fraud.
Let's turn that into a challenge for you. Here is the prompt. Synthesize the technical differences between bluesmacking and bluebugging, specifically focusing on how the L2CA key layer is abused versus how authentication bypass leads to financial fraud.
Think about the sledgehammer versus the lockpick.
Next up is slide 5, titled Identity Theft via ME Spoofing. So what does it actually mean to spoof an MEC address in a Bluetooth context? Essentially, an attacker changes the Bluetooth address of their own hardware to perfectly match the address of a target device.
They're putting on a digital mask to look exactly like the victim's phone or headset.
Right. What do we need to look out for on this certification regarding this?
You need to know the specific mechanism of the attack. How does it physically play out on the network? The exact key phrase you need to recognize is that during MSE spoofing, data meant for the victim device reaches the attacker's device first.
Reaches the attacker first. Why does it reach them first, though? If there are two identical digital masks in the same room, how does the network choose?
It usually comes down to proximity or signal strength. The attacker positions their spoofed device to be the loudest or the closest connection point, so the network just routes the data to them.
Makes sense.
And that initial passive interception is incredibly dangerous because it's the foundation for an active man-in-the-middle attack.
Permit to him.
Yeah. Once the attacker intercepts that data first, they can quietly read it and then forward it along to the actual victim. The victim's device still gets the message, so no alarms go off.
It's an invisible middleman. Think through this process for a second. Prompt time. Evaluate the process of Bluetooth MC spoofing. How does the initial redirection of data lay the necessary groundwork for a more complex man-in-the-middle attack?
It's all about that silent interception.
We are moving on to slide 6, titled Built-in Linux Radar, the BlueStack.
Yeah.
Many Linux distributions, which are standard for penetration testing, come with a built-in Bluetooth stack called BlueZ. It manages everything.
It's the engine under the hood.
And there are 2 core administrative commands you need to know. First, on Yeetingshig, and second, Jujitool. Think of each config as managing the physical hardware itself. You can type hconfig HE0 up to wake up the Bluetooth adapter, or down to turn it off.
Right, the hardware state.
Then you have HETool. This is for configuring connections and sending commands out into the world. For example, HETool scan goes out and shows you the MAC addresses and device names of remote devices.
I want to give you a specific memorization key here for the exam. Test makers will try to trick you with variations of that HETool command.
Oh, they love doing that.
If you get a question asking which command shows the clock offset and the class of a discovered device, the answer is HETool Inc. A foolproof way to remember this in the heat of an exam is that INQ equals clock offset.
Oh.
Look for that Q and K sound connection. INQ gets you the clock offset.
INQ and clock. Nice little phonetic trick. Here is your scenario to parse. Prompt. Compare and contrast the administrative use cases for the HICAN, the config, and HETool commands when mapping out a target Bluetooth environment on a Linux system.
Hardware versus network mapping.
Let's slip to slide 7, titled X-ray, Vision, and Network Pulse. This is where the reconnaissance gets really interesting. We're looking at 2 specific discovery tools using the X-ray and pulse analogies.
Oh, that's this part.
First, HTTP tool. This is the X-ray. It performs Service Discovery Protocol, or SDP, queries. The superpower here is that it checks which services are available on a device, even if that device is not discoverable, as long as it's nearby.
It just looks right through the stealth mode.
Exactly. Then we have LTP ping. This is the pulse. It needs root user privileges. It sends an LTTIP echo request to an entity address just to see if the device is up and responding.
The reason DP tool works like X-ray goggles is because it stops looking for the general "I'm here" beacon that devices broadcast when discoverable. Instead, it queries the specific service channels directly.
It bypasses the front yard.
It's looking right through the walls to see what's running inside. Now, the exam will test these tools using scenario checks.
What kind of scenarios?
Well, if an administrator is troubleshooting a newly purchased device to see if it responds to the network, they use L2 ping. But if they need to see what services a hidden nearby device is making available, they use SDP tool.
With those X-ray goggles in mind, here's your prompt. In a penetration testing scenario, explain why an ethical hacker might prioritize using SDP tool over basic discovery scans when targeting a heavily secured, non-discoverable device.
Advance to the next one.
Advancing to slide 8, titled Decoding the Terminal. You know, certification exams love to throw a screenshot of raw command output at you and expect you to instantly identify the tool that was used.
You have to be able to read the matrix. It can be intimidating, but you just have to look for the structural clues.
Like what?
The slide shows a terminal output block. Look past all the hexadecimal numbers and zero in on the text labels. When you see phrases like service RIC handle, service class ID list, and protocol descriptor list, you are looking at a service discovery protocol query.
Okay.
And the specific tool that generated that output is SDP tool.
I see things here like generic attribute and RFCOMM. What is RFCOMM doing in this output?
RFCOMM is a fantastic clue, actually. It's a cable replacement protocol. It basically tricks the device into thinking there is a physical serial cable plugged into it, which is how a lot of older data transfer apps communicate.
Wow.
If SDP tool output lists RFCOMM, it's telling the hacker exactly which virtual port to attack to pretend to be a plugged-in cable.
That makes the raw data feel a lot more actionable. So for your study check, prompt. When analyzing raw terminal output, what specific identifiers and structural clues confirm that a service discovery protocol query has been executed, rather than a simple ping or scan?
Look for the text, not just the numbers.
We are now on slide 9, titled The Heavy Artillery, Hacking Suites. We are officially moving from the reconnaissance phase of our heist into the aggressive penetration tools.
The break-in.
We have 2 major suites here. First is Blue Diving. This is a powerful Linux-based suite. It doesn't just do one thing, it implements multiple attacks simultaneously. It can blue bugs, blues narf, blues mac, and perform MSC address spoofing all at once.
It's a multi-tool.
Yeah. Then we have Super Bluetooth Hack. This is an Android application that views files on other Bluetooth-connected Android phones. It requires the JBED application to run Java, and its bread and butter is exploiting default passcodes like 0000.
The fact that a tool like Super Bluetooth Hack still thrives on 0,000 pines is a testament to the weakest link in cybersecurity.
Human convenience.
Exactly. But for your exam radar, you need a clear keyword match here. If a quiz question asks for a penetration suite that runs on Linux, the definitive answer is blue diving. Test makers will put Android tools in the multiple choice list as a distractor. Keep the operating systems cleanly separated in your head.
Let's think about that human element for a second. Here's the prompt. Assess the security implications of end users failing to change default pins, such as 0000, specifically in the context of mobile hacking applications like Super Bluetooth Hack.
Why is pairing still such a vulnerability?
Moving to slide 10, titled Master of the Middle, Betelgeuse. We touched on man-in-the-middle attacks earlier with AMBA spoofing, but Betelgeuse is the complete framework for it.
Dedicated tool.
It targets Bluetooth smart devices, it runs on Linux, and physically it requires two independent computers, each with its own Bluetooth adapter. It's composed of an interception core, an interception proxy, and a web interface.
Betelgeuse is fascinating because of that physical hardware requirement.
Two computers.
Right, you aren't just sending a spoofed packet, you are literally building a physical bridge to intercept the signal midair. One computer's adapter talks strictly to the victim's app, pretending to be the smart device. The second computer's adapter talks strictly to the smart device, pretending to be the victim's app.
It's brilliant.
The core and the proxy run between those two computers, catching the data, letting the hacker alter it, and then passing it along. The direct definition from the exam materials you need to know is complete framework to perform man-in-the-middle attacks. That always equals Betelgeuse.
You are literally building a toll booth on an invisible highway. Piece that together mentally. Prompt. Outline the necessary hardware components and software architecture required to successfully execute a man-in-the-middle attack using the Betelgeuse framework.
Think about the two adapters.
Let's change to slide 11, titled Passive Surveillance. Before deploying heavy artillery like Betelgeuse, ethical hackers use tools that run quietly in the background without actively engaging targets.
Just listening.
They list discoverable devices, MAC addresses, and major minor device types. The slide lists two of these tools. Bluetooth View is the Windows utility that sends a notification when a new device is detected. BT Scanner is the Linux-based equivalent providing the exact same sniffing functions.
Casing the joint is always the crucial first step to avoid detection. You use Bluetooth View or BT Scanner to map the environment without ever alerting the target.
Right, because if you make noise...
If you start aggressively pinging a secured network with an L2 ping echo request, you might trigger an intrusion detection system. Passive reconnaissance is how you gather the lay of the land invisibly. You just soak up the radio waves.
Which perfectly sets up this prompt. Formulate an argument for why an ethical hacker should exhaust passive surveillance techniques using tools like Bluetooth View before initiating active probing methods.
Don't trip the alarms.
Now let's look at defense on slide 12, titled Defense in-Depth Countermeasures. We've seen how they break in. How do we stop them? First, use Mode 4 security, which requires encryption and Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Second, avoid sequential numbers by using non-regular pins during pairing.
Basic but essential.
Third, utilize Android firewalls to guard against hacking. Fourth, use hidden mode, which prevents devices from being found while enabled. And finally, lower the power setting to decrease the physical range.
Let's quickly talk about Diffie-Hellman because it shows up constantly. Imagine you and I are in a crowded room shouting across it. We need to agree on a secret paint color, but everyone can hear us.
Okay.
We start by shouting a common color, say yellow. Then we each secretly mix in our own private color. We shout the mixed results to each other. Even though the whole room heard the common color and the mixed results, only you and I know our own private colors.
Oh, I see where this is going.
When we add our private colors to the other person's mixed result, we end up with the exact same final color, a shared secret key, and the rest of the room has no idea how we got there. Mode 4 security forces Bluetooth to use this math.
That is a brilliant analogy, mixing paint in a crowded room. And the exam also tests the physical countermeasures, right? Like lowering the power setting.
Yes, applied scenarios directly from the quiz. Here is scenario 1. How do you hide a device that is in continuous operation? Answer is hidden mode.
Nice and easy.
Scenario 2. A user named Anne is on a patio with tourists and wants to stop someone from intercepting her headset. What is the most effective defense? Answer: Lower the power setting on the smartphone and headset to reduce the possibility of an outsider attack.
Evaluate that concept for your next prompt. Evaluate how manipulating the physical properties of a Bluetooth signal, such as lowering the power setting, serves as an effective security control compared to software-based encryption.
Physical range matters.
Almost at the end. Let's go to slide 13, titled The Alphabet Soup Distractor Decanter. The test makers will try to trip you up by mixing these terms. Let's do a rapid-fire review to make sure you don't get tricked.
The four blues.
Bluejacking, annoying messages. No data stolen. Blue snarfing, OBBEX exploit, data stolen.
Bluesmacking. DES attack. Oversized packet. Blue bugging. Backdoor access. Full control. Secret phone calls.
Take a second to lock this in. Prompt. Synthesize the distinct outcomes of the four major blue attacks and explain why precise categorization is vital when reporting vulnerabilities to a client.
Keep them in distinct mental buckets.
Turning to slide 14, titled Final Exam Cheat Sheet. Let's summarize the ultimate takeaways that were tested across the quiz sources. ADP tool finds services on hidden nearby devices. L2 ping needs root, checks if up.
HC tooling is where you look for clock offset. Greedlejuice is your MIT-M framework. Blue diving is your Linux pen suite.
MC spoofing means data reaches the attacker first. And lowering power is your defense against physical interception.
That's the core of it.
Your final study prompt. Of all the tools and techniques reviewed in this toolkit, which offensive tool and defensive countermeasure pair do you believe represents the most critical dynamic to understand for the exam, and why?
Weigh your options there.
And finally, we transition to slide 15, titled Toolkit Secured. Congratulations, you've dismantled the protocols, unpacked the heavy artillery, and mapped the defenses.
You've got this. Remind yourself to trust your training, read command outputs carefully, and be wary of distractors on your certification exam. But I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought to ponder on your own.
Lay it on us.
We've talked extensively about smartphones and laptops today, but as the Internet of Things rapidly expands to include smart medical devices, connected vehicles, and automated industrial sensors, what happens to global infrastructure when every new smart device is shipped with an enabled L2CAP layer and an exploitable OBX protocol?
That is an incredible and slightly terrifying thought to end on. Remember to keep reviewing those prompts, keep digging deep, and good luck on your certification exam.